Whereas the war in Ethiopia's Amhara region is claiming countless lives, endangering civilians, and challenging peace, pluralism, and human rights. And whereas the Amhara people are indigenous to Ethiopia, are one of the largest ethnic groups in the country, and have a rich culture and history that is intertwined into the fabric of Ethiopia. And whereas a large number of Amhara civilians, many of whom were unarmed women, children, and elderly people, were killed or injured through the use of drone strikes, heavy artillery shelling, and other weapons of war by government security forces since April 2023. And whereas government security forces and other violent armed groups have perpetrated acts of sexual and gender-based violence on Amhara women and girls. And whereas the Lumpkin Institute for Genocide Prevention and the UN Special Advisor on the Prevention of Genocide have issued an active genocide alert for Ethiopia's Amhara region due to ongoing killings of Amhara civilians by federal forces. The Oroma Liberation Army and Oromia Region Security Forces. And whereas the European Center for Law and Justice, ECLJ, also reported that the human rights violations range from forced displacement and mass arrests to systemic massacres and ethnic cleansings. The Economist reported that abductions and killings are rampant across the nation. And whereas the United Nations World Food Program affirmed the use of starvation as a weapon of war, and that chronic food insecurity is prevalent in the Amhara region in recent years. And whereas since spring of 2022, Ethiopia's ruling Oromo Prosperity Party has arrested thousands of Amhara civilians, including parliamentarians, opposition figures, journalists, civil society leaders, and other citizens who have faced torture, arbitrary detainment, enforced disappearance, lack of due process, inordinate legal fees. And whereas freedom of press and freedom of expression in Ethiopia has been under threat following the arrests of independent Amhara journalists, internet disruptions, and suspension of over a dozen media outlets. And whereas the county of Santa Barbara encourages continued efforts of the Biden administration to respond to ethnic violence and tensions in Ethiopia, including declining to reinstate Ethiopia's participation as a beneficiary in the AGOA until progress is made towards a peaceful settlement of the conflict, and conditions allow for the smooth flow of humanitarian aid. Now, therefore, it is hereby ordered and resolved that this Board of Supervisors affirms its support for the Amhara people, passed and adopted today.